Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Blue Collar Connoisseur Club podcast. So today, as you can see behind me, we are at Glengoyne Distillery, which is very close to Glasgow, and your closest town to Glengoyne is Killearn. Now, we will again be doing a tour, and we will go through a little bit of history and a tasting as usual. So, we do hope that you do enjoy the episode, and we will see you very soon. We're now on to the history part of our Glengoyne adventure. Now, the history of this distillery is very long and varied, so we won't actually take you through the full timeline, as, let's face it, we would be sitting here for hours and you would get sick of listening to me. Now, Glengoyne itself is in a place called Glengoyne, which is just north of Glasgow, and it is very easily accessible by car. Now, the initial distillation of spirit in the area dates back over 100 years. Now, these were illicit stills that were producing spirit in the burns in Hillfoots. Now, the distillery itself came about in 1833 and was initially known as the Burnfoot Distillery. It was originally owned by George Connell, who built the distillery and took out a lease on the surrounding land, on which was built warehouse, which is still in use today. Now, on to 1876, the distillery was then sold to Archibald McClellan, to the Lang brothers, who were based in Glasgow. It is stated that the Langs intended to name the distillery Glengoyne, but due to a mistake by the clerk, it was recorded as Glengoyne, which roughly translates to Glen of the Geese. Now, in 1894 or 1905, it was changed to Glengoyne, which comes from Glengoyne, like I say, Glen of the Geese. The distillery remained with the Lang brothers until it was taken over by Robertson and Baxter Group in 1965, who later became the Edrington Group. And in 1966 and 67, the number of stills was increased from 2 to 3 as the distillery underwent a rebuilding project. Now, in 1984, the Lang brothers became suppliers of whisky to the Queen Mother, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth's household. The royal warrant has since been delegated to Ian MacLeod Distillers, who are the current owners of the distillery. Now, Glengoyne does stand in a unique place within the Scottish whisky industry. It is a Highland malt Scottish whisky, where all the malt is distilled in the Highlands, but is actually matured in the Lowlands, as the road that separates the distillery from the warehouses is actually the boundary between the Highlands and the Lowlands, which makes the distillery very unique. So the whisky is distilled in the Highlands, which is why it is a Highland single malt, but matured in the Lowlands. Now, it doesn't have a typical Highland taste to the whisky because it is so close to the boundary line. Now, on to some modern history. In April 2003, Ian MacLeod Distillers acquired Glengoyne Distillery and the Glengoyne Single Malt and Lang's blended whisky brands. Now, the acquisition of Glengoyne Distillery meant that Ian MacLeod became a fully integrated distiller, blender, and bottler. Under Ian MacLeod, Glengoyne saw a vast increase in output capacity as well as a similar rise in sales. Speaking of the acquisition and planned expansion in 2003, Leonard Russell, managing director of Ian MacLeod, stated that we will be aiming to increase sales of the Glengoyne from the current level of 450,000 litres to 1 million litres next year. Later speaking in 2005, Russell stated, we continue to make whisky exactly the same way at Glengoyne. The original warehouse built by George Connell is still on the site as the shop and visitor reception area. Today Glengoyne has 8 working warehouses with a total capacity of nearly 2 million litres or 4.5 million bottles of spirit. Now very shortly we will take you a brief tour round the distillery from our day out. Now, as you can imagine, and as previous episodes, we won't actually give you the full tour because we wouldn't want to spoil it, but it is worth getting an idea of what you will be looking at and where you will be going. So here, right by the Glengoyne waterfall, right behind the current distillery, we do have this stone plinth, which would be the site of the original still from 1833, which is tucked away right in this little gorge, where you can see the waterfall and the water running down towards the current distillery itself, which is just at the end of this nice walkway. So we are heading back down towards the distillery, so you have had to come up through the distillery to this point, which is a nice wee walk, especially on a day with slightly better weather in Scotland, which does not come very often. But we will head back down, and we will see you all very soon again. So, on to the tour itself. Once you cross the road from the car park, you do actually get right to the Glengoyne Distillery, where you do walk through the visitors' entrance and are meted in the reception. Now, from there, you are directed up to the small slanted roof building where your tour guide will meet you. There are plenty of things to see round about the distillery as well. So it is always worth a look up to the waterfall that you've just seen, and also some of the other bits and pieces that are dotted round about the distillery itself. So inside the old cooperage, where you do meet your tour guide, there is a lot of information that you can read up on as you are waiting, and it is very well presented. Now you then go into the still room initially, where you can see the 3 stills and also some of the other functions within there as well. Now, with the stills, you do also get a chance to have a look at the washbacks as well, where you do get a nice view of them. And you can also stick your head in if you are that way inclined. Now, from there, we do head into cask warehouse number 1, where you do get a good description of what wood is used and also some of the older legendary casks that are still held on site within warehouse number 1. Also gives you a good idea of some of the wood that is used and what you can expect to get from it. We then finished off our tour in the shop, which is very bright and very well presented and pretty much has everything you could want. Right, so what does it cost to visit this Glengoyne Distillery and what tours are on offer? So, we'll start off with the Malt Master Experience, which is a 90-minute tour, and that costs £120 per person. Then they also do the Collection Whiskey and Chocolate Experience, which is £90, which is 90 minutes and £40 per person. The standard tour that we did, which was the tour and tasting, which is 75 minutes at £25 per person. And they also offer a further tour, which is 45 minutes, and that's £90 per person, which again just takes you into some of the different malts that they do offer. So that's kind of the tour for Glengoyne Distillery. We do hope that you have enjoyed it, and we will take you on further on in the episode. Right guys, so we are on to our tasting part of the episode. Now, with Glengoyne, their main age ranges range from 10-year-old, which is this orange box, to your 12-year-old, to your 15-year-old, and then it does also go up 18, 21, 25 and 30 years old. This green and white little anomaly that we have in the middle here, this we will go into as well at a later date, is Glengoyne's new mass market, where you can purchase it in Tesco's. Again, we will go into that probably on our socials. We'll do a special on that one. So, now, today, what we will be sampling is our 12-year-old and our 15-year-old. As you can see, we have got the Glengoyne glass. I only have one, so we will have to use another one. So we will start off with the 12-year-old Glengoyne, which I have in this nice wee sample bottle. So, like I say, this is a Highland single malt Scotch whisky, and this will be the 12-year-old. So, as we can see here, we do have a nice pale amber colour. We've got very marginal beading, and let's just have a wee look here what we got likewise. This normally works a lot easier. Now, you do get some nice thick legs on that as well. Very slow running. And on the nose, we do have some nice fruity flavours coming through, as well as some spices, which again will be from the oak barrels and the sherry finish. On the palate, again, you do get those fruity flavours coming through, as well as some vanilla and caramel, which again, very, very nice whisky, very worth a try if you get the chance. Now, a lot of these you will be able to purchase at the distillery itself, as well as some other selected retailers. This is only one that you will be able to buy in Tesco's on the Glengoyne range. So moving on, we will move on to our 15-year-old, which comes in a nice wee top hat Glengoyne glass. So again, very similar colour with the 15-year-old to the 12-year-old. Not much difference really between them. On the nose, you're getting a wee bit more of your caramelised fruits, and someone did mention that they can get a hint of coconut. but it does have a bit more of a woody smell as well from the barrels. Now again, with this you've got very little beading, and the legs are slightly faster running and a wee drop thinner. And on the palate we've got a lot more fruity and floral than the 12-year-old, and a much richer taste, a bit more depth in the taste as well. Now again with these, you can add a wee bit of water to them just to enhance open up the bouquet of flavours. But that's us for our tasting today, guys. So again, that was the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old. Again, on our socials, we will do some specials on these either side of the episode. So we do hope that you enjoy them as well. And make sure you are following our socials just to keep up with what we will be going through as well. Right, guys, thanks very much again for watching. It has been a pleasure. Now, I'm going to go and finish off these two whiskies. And again, we hope that you do have enjoyed them. If you have tried Glengoyne, or you're about to try Glengoyne, again, let us know on our socials or in the comments in the video. We'd be happy and love to hear what your thoughts were on Glengoyne whisky. We've not had a chance to taste the Glengoyne Signature, the Tesco's one yet. Again, if you have bought that and tried it, by all means, let us know what you think. And we'll be happy to add in some of the comments to future episodes as well that come up with Glengoyne. So again, as usual, folks, have a great weekend, have a great week, wherever and whenever you are watching. Be safe, drink responsibly, and we hope to see you back on our next episode. So with that, we will leave you to your drams or whatever beverage you have decided to entertain yourselves with us. And with all good health, we will see you back on the next episode.